Welcome everybody to the Bitcoin Live Hangout. Completely new show. It's about community building. People will be dropping in and out during the show, and it will be just fun. We'll be talking about Nashville. We'll talk about Bitcoin. We'll probably talk a little bit about politics. I see the first people are arriving. Hello, everybody.
Hi, plus.
Jim, BTC, Vesa, Gerald. Hi, I think Cap Hill Crypto is also about to join, and Sid, and probably Matthew. I want to do a shout out to our friends at Quantum Economics and Quantum Expeditions, and I got their website right here. Check them out if you're into Bitcoin mining, or if you're just into everything that has to do with Bitcoin, like getting good information. They are the place to be, and also of course Bitcoin Live itself. I'm also gonna do a shout out to our sponsor, which is Shieldfolio. We have a really cool discount link, which is Bitcoin Live all caps 20, where you get 20% discount on your next Shieldfolio, which is water resistant, tear resistant. It's a little book where you can write your seed phrases or whatever it is that you, whatever it is that of importance basically that you wanna write down, which is really cool actually. So I have a couple. So that's it. Welcome everybody. How are you doing?
Good morning or afternoon, depending where you're at.
Yeah, it's
not bad.
Evening here, but we actually got probably also somebody signing in from the Philippines. So we got Asia, we got America, we got Europe. We actually also have somebody from Africa, but he will maybe joining us next time. So we got the whole continent, and we're also going to talk about Nashville. Guys, what is your impression from Bitcoin conference Nashville? Who wants to go first?
It's a little bit hard to talk about it. None of us are there. It seems like a stellar lineup. I wish I was there. Anita, aka Crypto Granny, from the Finnish Speaker Mafia, is representing, as well as Elias from Cointelegraph. But I haven't actually bothered them because I know they're knee deep into the whole thing. But it seems that the most important and interesting news is I just watched RFK tweet that tomorrow Trump might be announcing that the United States might get a reserve of 1 million Bitcoin as a store of value for the country, which obviously would be quite gigantic news for the scene itself if that does happen. So and I know that RFK is a big long-time supporter of Bitcoin as well, so it's definitely going to be an interesting time if that happens. That's a huge deal.
Hey Capil.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
Doing good.
Thanks.
So it's kind of fun. We have never done this before, actually. It's something that has been on my mind for a very long time. Just invite everybody from the Bitcoin Live crew and do a big show. But it's hard to put together. The idea is to do this on a monthly basis, if we can keep it up and manage it, and just talk about current events and what people what you guys are doing, right? I know, Jim, you're doing something really cool with music and a mint. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's just been going for the last sort of few days. We minted the first recursive song. It's the first sort of off the production line of what I've been working on for the last couple of years. Recursively creating a on-chain music production protocol, really. So yeah, we've had the first songs going out, 2 songs that I wrote, and then in a couple of hours putting out the first song by another artist. So that's exciting. And I've got 3 or 4 other artists working on stuff. One of them is quite a big name. So it's, it's in fact 2 of them are very well known in the crypto space and outside. So it's really exciting. It's just a bit nerve-wracking bringing your tech to the world after it just being your baby for so long, but it's so far so good.
Yeah, you've been grinding it. The Audionals Show on Wednesdays is really cool. I listen to it whenever I can. Like I love.
I have to hide behind the music a lot, so don't have to do so much talking, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. I like sort of the pirate sound. And then
How
tomorrow,
can I find it so I'd go and listen?
yeah, we have a website. No, we don't have a website. We have a YouTube channel, I should say. I'm gonna put it up here.
No, I mean for the music.
The music. Oh, the music is all on chain. It's all Bitcoin. It's all on the
Yeah,
Bitcoin
the music. The first collection is on Magic Eden now. Launching them all through Gamma. But today's mint is the first song. I only did 1,000 of them, but this one's an open mint and it's free. I mean, it's not free, because you have to pay for the minting price. But I'm not charging a fee, so it's just going through Gamma as a free mint, and it's called Freedom. So that's currently minting on Gamma now. It's 1 mint per wallet. Again, the idea is to distribute, to get lots of people to try and understand that music is something that can actually come to the blockchain now, that people have been working for a couple of years to democratize the blockchain so musicians can join in.
Well, I'm here in Magic Eden now, and I typed in Freedom to the search box, and there's
no, because Freedom is still minting. Truth is on Magic Eden. If you type Truth into Magic Eden, you'll find that there.
And also pull up your
Never Fear the
Extra.
Truth, Illuminati NFT, Trust. There's a whole bunch that comes.
Yeah, just go to Bitcoin. Search just Bitcoin, and then I think there's only 2.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that just says Truth in the middle of the image.
And I see we have a new guest, Sid. Welcome also. I think actually we also have a special guest because Paul McNeal is going to join us.
Hey guys, how are you?
Yeah, it's good to see you, or good to hear you, I should say. There might also be some other people who sort of jump in anonymously, but Paul was just there, and he also has some stuff to announce, which is pretty interesting. But he has been sort of going off socials completely. So he sort of stopped being the crypto curator, but he will make a special appearance on the show later on. And I also expect Matty to jump in, and probably some other people as well. So it will be also me managing behind the screen. So, I thought what would be pretty cool if we sort of live stream also the Rumble Nashville show which is going on. So I won't put on the sound because otherwise it becomes impossible to talk. But this is basically the live feed from Nashville at the moment. So this, if we see anything interesting, we can just pop it up and talk about it. So I wanted to say tomorrow's proof of work. We got Gerald on. Gerald, what's proof of work tomorrow about?
So tomorrow's show is going to be the Coinbase problem. Clearly, if you're paying attention to the ETFs, Bitcoin ETF, I think Coinbase hodls like 9 out of the 13 or 14. They do custody for like 85% of the Bitcoin ETFs, and they are now doing custody for almost the same amount for the Ethereum ETF. I am excited, though, about this week's, obviously, the conference. The things that are being said in the conference are things that I've been saying personally for over 4 or 5 years now. So to hear that, there's presidential candidates talking about an actual Bitcoin reserve, which I've been talking about since like 2019, I can't believe this is happening. The fact that there's an Ethereum ETF that just got passed, I can't believe this is happening. So to me, it's like I'm living in a fantasy land right at the moment, and I'm just waiting for my bags to catch up.
A simulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? I mean, you're one of the early people who have been talking about this, but at Bitcoin Live, we've been also sort of yelling similar kind of stuff, and Matty has also made a lot of predictions, and I think many people here on the panel. I know Johnny Law is also going to join us, who's also been pretty good at predicting stuff. But it's crazy, right? It's all coming true. So
yeah, it is. Everything's coming true.
Yeah.
my latest prediction, which I said literally a year and a month ago, I said, okay, here comes Russia going to use crypto for capital goods in 3, 2, 1. 1 year later, boom, here we are. So we literally have the Russian, parliament passing a law saying they're going to take Bitcoin for capital goods, y'all. Are you ready? Are you effing ready? This is the big time, right? This is the big boy leagues. Because when people start buying steel with Bitcoin and oil with Bitcoin, it's not going to be 60K. It's going to be 6 million or $600 million, right?
Yeah, what was the number that Michael Saylor put out there?
He put 45. I laughed. I was like, pussy. It's going to be like 450 million by that time. Sorry, he was wrong.
He was being modest.
Yeah. But again, if Saudi Aramco starts taking Bitcoin for oil, it'll be $1 billion in like 2 months. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. If Aramco start taking that, that's over for fiat.
Fiat's done.
Yeah. So they probably don't want that to happen too quickly. And talking about politics, we also have a political expert here, Capital Crypto, George. What is your take on sort of the politics in this conference? We got Trump speaking with RFK. I keep saying JFK. RFK and even Kamala Harris was about to speak and then she pulled out. What is your take on?
Kamala is not confirmed.
Yeah, I think she ultimately declined. But yeah, first off, good to be with you guys. I used to be on one of the earlier shows with Paul McNeal, who I'm excited to catch up with Bitcoin and politics, but haven't really been that active in the Bitcoin Live community. But it's good to catch up with you guys. You guys are always so supportive on Twitter and X or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting time. Like, it seems policy is a big part of the conference this year, and you got RFK Jr. obviously making the big news. But what's interesting to me is that it almost looks like politicians this election cycle are competing a little bit for like the crypto vote, and it's nice to see that. Like, people kind of coming towards us with proposals, or I think part of it is they're seeing there's some energy here, and let's be honest, some money to get on the donation side. So I'm really curious to see what Trump's going to say. It seems like I want to say 3 or 4 people now have been talking about the Federal Reserve buying Bitcoin and putting it on the balance sheet. So this is. I remember just a couple years ago when I started my business and I started really paying attention to all the hearings and bills getting introduced in Congress. You'd be excited if like Bitcoin came up at a hearing, and now the fact that we're at a point where even Democrats are talking about the U.S. itself buying Bitcoin, it's cool to see the progression. I went to Bitcoin conference in Miami, I want to say 2 years ago, and there was no one there talking about buying the U.S. buying Bitcoin. We're just talking about, can we have clear regulations or stop the war from the SEC against crypto. So it seems like we're really making progress, and that's definitely fun.
Do you think Gary Gensler will stay on?
Short answer is he's gonna leave Ray eventually. I think if you look at the early statements from Kamala, even the fact that there's kind of a pause and she's trying to figure out her positioning, I think the easiest move you could do and to kind of like placate the crypto community would have a fresh start at some of the agencies where we've seen some of the aggression against crypto. Gensler said he's not going anywhere. I don't know. I have to look at that more closely, but I think if Trump wins, it's just a matter of time before we have a more crypto-friendly SEC. And I'm going to stay optimistic that Kamala will come around to the crypto community, and we'll just have to keep our eyes on that and see what she says. And also see if we see any movement, right? Like with the Biden administration, they're in power right now. So if they want to do something, they don't just have to talk about it. They can make moves. I'm not saying replace Gensler immediately, but Stab 121's hanging out there. They can pull that any day. That doesn't take an act of Congress. They can pull that tonight if they wanted to. So we'll just keep eyes, especially looking out for action, especially to get a sense of where things are headed or what things would look like under a Kamala Harris administration.
And what's your take of Kamala Harris?
To be honest, it's not. I'm so focused on Congress, and the vice president. I think what is their big issue? They gave her like AI and immigration. I haven't really looked at. I've tried to look up like policies or crypto statements. There doesn't seem to be much out there. I've heard mixed reviews. Some say that she's being from California, she's open in the tech community. But again, we'll have to see. I think, we're in this kind of waiting period to see how the campaign is going to position on crypto. They certainly have an opportunity, the Democrats, that is, to kind of reposition themselves or pivot or, basically not let the Republicans kind of carry away this issue. So we just, it would have been nice to see what she had to say at Bitcoin conference, but I think she just wants a little more time. I think that's fine as long as they come around to the right policies eventually. It'll be worth the wait. But I don't know. I'm curious what other people think about what Trump's going to say today. Think there'll be any big announcements?
Oh, who wants to take that one?
Well, I think he will fire JD Vance. That will be his big announcement.
Wow, that would be big, right? He just picked him.
By the way, speculation, because he should fire him, because since he became the VP, Trump's ratings are going down. He is a very unpopular candidate, and then Trump needs to bring the news cycle back to Republicans. Right now, everybody's talking about Kamala and his picks. I think that will be a great way to bring the news cycle back towards him.
Well, he's doing
signature. Yeah, it's his signature. He liked to fire, so I think he will.
He hires people to fire them. Yeah, but
Yeah.
He does typical Trump things, right? He sort of let this thing, about Larry Fink, that he might choose him as Treasury Secretary, and then the next day he says, no, that's not true. Right? So he does his typical Trump stuff. So yeah, who knows? Maybe you're right. I don't know.
Well, Trump will come and he will say some jokes. It'll be fun. That's it.
Oh yeah, he's a clown.
He will attack Kamala. That's for sure.
Oh, that's guaranteed.
Yeah.
What's your take, Gerald?
I have a degree in political science, so these guys are the mudslinging is about to commence. Let's be clear. We're gonna see some 1880s mudslinging going on. Look, I've never been a fan of Trump. As somebody who's a game theory specialist, look, nobody in the room, again, this is just hard, cold facts, right? Putin does not fear Biden. President Z does not fear Biden, right? They fear Trump, and that's an edge. I don't care what you feel about him. That's an edge in the grand scheme of things. And if we're trying to avoid World War III or IV or whatever number you think we're up to, I think that's an advantage. That's just my personal take. I'm abstaining from voting this year. I've only done that in 2 elections. That was 2016 election and this election. But that's my personal choice as an American not to vote as well. I'm going to vote Team Bitcoin. That's what I've been saying for the last 6 months. I'm Team Orange. I think the more, again, I've been saying this is one of my many Bitcoin economic theories. The more people that hold Bitcoin, the safer Bitcoin becomes, the stronger Bitcoin becomes. And if you didn't like what you saw at the opening game of the Olympics, again, cheap art, cheap food, cheap women, cheap men, cheap morals, all this cheapness starts to go away when you attach it to hard asset, right? And as soon as we go back to a hard money, then art becomes we're in the, we will have a new time, right? Literally a neo-Renaissance, right? Is very possible, I think, with a new hard currency. And that's what I'm looking forward to personally.
We actually have an artist, a big artist right here.
Yes.
Vesa. Vesa, do you want to take that one?
Hey man, yeah. Well, I suppose that's fitting, and I do literally call myself. That's one of the first lines on my website is a neo-Renaissance artist, and that's kind of the ticket that I've been riding on this one as well. And getting back to the foundational values and understandings of why art would be something significant to be beholden to, and yeah, it does seem like that those who don't have very severe Trump derangement syndrome, that from the perspective of world peace, he would probably be the right president for this one. I mean, I do have a very preferential thing for RFK. He's the one that makes the most sense to me, and he would be the inspired vote rather than the scared vote. Obviously, me as a Finn, we share a border with Russia. So the one thing about the military-industrial complex and withdrawing from that is that it actually doesn't work for Finland very well, because we just showed a giant middle finger to Russia by joining NATO, and we did it under the premise that NATO would be backing us up in case shit, And if that does now happen with both of the candidates that I think are in general good for the world peace situation, then it wouldn't be too nice for the Finnish situation, so to speak. So that's a little bit of a weird thing. And since early, I'm not sure if it's appropriate or not, but is it okay to say a couple of things of what I'm doing at the moment that might be of interest?
Yeah.
I just literally an hour ago finished an artwork that is going to go on this Bitcoin collectibles book called Smastoshi, which is going to be this very fancy limited edition, super cool leather-bound book thing. And my task was to make an artwork about Bitcoin.org, and it's sort of coming together as basically the first portal between Web 2 and Web 3. And I noticed, because it's my fellow countryman Martti Malmi, who's the first guy to do so many different emails between him and Satoshi, that I noticed that as his portrait, he's using this Hindu mudra. When someone is taking a portrait of him, and you might have seen quite a few different powerful men of late, including Elon Musk and many others, to use that similar kind of thing. And I thought it was just first a pretentious kind of thing that Silicon Valley boys do when they want to appear cool, or when they try to be, some of the tech geniuses before. But I actually gave it a shot and did a podcast. And the first half of the podcast, I didn't hold it that position with my hands underneath the table. And then the second half I did. And it was quite a noticeable shift in my energy and feeling of what I had when I held my hands like that. So there was something about that. And it generates the pyramid shape, and it generates something that feels like a very compressed amount of energy inside of you. So it was that thing in between the centralized, which is the pyramid structure, and then it's all the different kinds of pyramid shapes and round shapes that came. It's silly to try to explain it. Of course, I should show it. I can't yet show it, but that's something that I finished just an hour ago. So I'm obviously feeling pretty good about that, because I've been mulling it over for 3 months of what the hell am I going to do that's going to look cool, that represents a fucking website, So that was something. And secondly, I'm excited because 3 years ago, after a year effort, we shot this project with Brittany Kaiser, who's the Cambridge Analytica whistleblower and the star of the Great Hack film on Netflix, which has about 1 billion views at this point. So she came with her entourage to Finland. We shot all different kinds of things, from VR to video to depth cameras to whatever. And we've been in development hell for 3 years because we couldn't get it funded to actually do the post-production on that. And now finally, through the Swiss Web3 Fest and Ralph and his kind introduction, I met this guy called Karim, who's from Mercatura Forum, which is this incredible conglomerate kind of doing many interesting things, from AI to high-level Netflix post-production to startups to AI buildings or whatever, things like that. So they invited me over. So on the 10th, I'll be flying over to Cairo to get their full A team at my disposal to start doing the post-production on this. And due to your kind introduction, Nicolas, and how this is relevant to Bitcoin Live quite a bit, is that because you introduced me to Graham DePendrose, who might be, I don't know if he's joining us, but I had another session with him about an hour and a half earlier today. This guy is just incredible with the wealth of knowledge that he has, because I needed to be able to actually really know what is going on in the world of data collecting and AI and the developments of where we are now after these documentaries like The Great Hack or The Social Dilemma. I rewatched Social Dilemma, and I'm like, yeah, it's inspiring, but it's obviously from the government standpoint and this kind of thing. And Graham has really been catching me up to understanding what the cognitive devolution is, how the collecting of our data has gone really to the level nearly of collecting our brain waves, and what the devices are able to soon take from us. So I needed to be able to update from those times where we actually are, in order to make inspired artworks that might wake us up a little bit to the somewhat dystopian fucking reality of where we find ourselves in, and increasingly so.
There's a nice nice bridge to Snowden, right? Snowden did also a really nice speech about privacy and Bitcoin, and maybe you have a point of view on that one, Gerald.
Oh, again, Snowden's. If you got a chance to listen to it, the TLDR is Bitcoin's winning, y'all, and that was a huge statement. If you watched his speech, it is amazing. Like, for moments, he reminded me of McAfee. He like looked like a young John McAfee. It was so weird. I was like, thought I was taking acid or something, which I don't anymore for many years. But I literally thought I was listening to like John McAfee talk for like a few minutes here and there. Yeah, he is the man.
Front row with Brittany Kaiser and Edward Snowden fireside chat at the shed in Zug.
Awesome.
But I was there now just a while ago. It was
And again,
fucking powerful, man.
Again, he's one of the reasons like most of the world's eyes are wide open right now, right? Go watch any of his documentaries. I highly recommend the movie. Obviously, is okay, but obviously the documentary. But he's been screaming from the mountaintops that Bitcoin is crucial. And I am one of those people at the same time that am saying this, right? He's, obviously at the upper echelons of the intelligence community for a long time, and obviously a great, cybersecurity analyst. And as somebody who's just new to that industry, I've been screaming it from the gutters, I guess you could say, that one of the biggest problems we face right now is cyber disjunctification, right? We just saw it happen in front of our eyes, right? My theory played out right in front of our eyes, right? One update doesn't go out and boom, everything fucking goes down, right? I've been saying this for a year now. This is the biggest threat to the world. And the Web 2.0 isn't as nice as everyone makes it seem to be, right? I've been saying this for 10 years. It's great. It's made people millionaires, and Steve Jobs and Zuckerberg and the like. But at the same time, the Web 2.0, has all of these problems, right? We have, armies of bots out there, spyware, black hats, white hats. We have all of these problems, and then to put on top of it, if one patch doesn't go out, like I've been saying, planes could fall out of the sky, and that almost happened. And the red alarm started going off when I saw the bridge get taken out by the boat. And if you think it was just a power issue, I'm telling you that's bullshit. This is exactly what I've been warning about. It's called update syndrome, right? And literally, millions of people almost died the other day. We don't even talk about this, right? And luckily, it didn't happen like that. Thank the Lord. It was just people delayed, and people have to relax for a few hours. Thank God. Amen for that. But yeah, it's a real thing, and Bitcoin fixes a lot of this bullshit, right? I've been saying this for a long time. It slows down, right? We have to get consensus if we're going to get a change, right? Google can't just throw out a new update. Apple can't throw a new update just because they want to change a but this or that. Obviously, if the security patch is necessary, I get that. There's exceptions to the rule, but Bitcoin fixes a lot of these shenanigans. And update syndrome, it doesn't fix update syndrome, but Bitcoin is that anchor that slows the Web 2.0 down as we transition into the Web 3.
Well, actually,
I have a thing, like these things were deliberate because they can be easily prevented. All the patches, there are precautions for that. They don't take it for some reason. They wanted to crash something. I don't know what was the conspiracy behind it, but I have a computer science background, so I know whenever you're updating something, there are so many precautions. Like you can easily avoid all those things, but they don't. So there is something bigger going on.
It's usually just laziness, really.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I used to work for Consumer Cellular right down the road. I'm not, and this isn't the case anymore because they got bought out by a bigger company and they fixed it. But I was working for them, and I just remember one day I looked up at the screen and they were still running HTTP, right? They were running HTTPS, right? And they're not the only ones, right? There's big companies out there that are not running the secure socket layer of the HTTP, and that's very not safe. Like, let's be very clear. That's just being lazy, people. And there's a lot of corporate America that's just lazy, right? They don't want to upgrade their servers. They don't want to upgrade their software because it's like, oh, it's going to cost how much? And they're just lazy. Another company I work for, Eddie Bauer, right? Eddie Bauer still uses BASIC for their inventory control program. Hello.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see,
You're talking about GW Basic?
See, the computer engineer is laughing because he knows that is a no. Yeah,
it's like
it's
80s programming language, I guess.
Exactly.
In case someone is interested, because one of my favorite, I suppose, culture war contributors is Eric Weinstein, and I was happy that he was a while ago at one of the Bitcoin conferences as well, on stage. And just a couple of days ago, I listened to the VP pick of RFK, Nicole Shanahan, who had Eric Weinstein as a guest on her podcast, which was quite interesting because Eric's been notorious about saying that you can't just fix money and everything else falls to place. You need to fix a whole bunch of other things as well. And while I agree and think it's really great that Bitcoin, given the opportunity properly, will fix the money layer, in this particular podcast that they did together, they go into the hard problems of sciences and basically how science could do a similar kind of renewal process for itself as Bitcoin is doing to money. And I'm not going to butcher their concepts, or especially with what Eric was saying, but because I don't claim to understand how the process works, like just a fraction of what he understands. So if anyone wants to go and listen to that, I thought it was pretty brilliant, because as a general perspective of what I've been saying ever since that I came to this space in 2017 was that and especially the Bitcoiners who understand the hard assets and value kind of arguments of Bitcoin, it's that we do have this neo-Renaissance upon us, and it's sort of it's the best of the sciences and best of arts and all the kinds of the pinnacle of human achievement was what the Medici family started funding. So what I've seen increasingly happen a lot, and this would be my critique towards the Bitcoin family, is that quite often it's about maybe building like a couple of solutions for Web3 or something like that, but it's holding on to your bags rather than actually fixing the problems in politics or education or science or whatever it is. If we are to have this proper renaissance to the world, we need to be able to actually go and contribute to all of the societal problems that Bitcoin people are so brilliant at critiquing. And this is why I thought Eric Weinstein was quite a fresh voice when he came into the scene, because he's not deaf to the actual value arguments and the power of Bitcoin, but he's also not a fanboy in such a way that he's afraid to critique it where it actually could be improved a lot. And it's not Bitcoin itself. I think it's the attitude of those who are inside of Bitcoin and fixing the problems that we're so eagerly easy to point out that society has.
What is your take on Nicole, by the way? I haven't really looked into her.
That's the first that I've heard of her, that I listened to this podcast in between them. I think is, the vote of confidence from RFK is pretty cool to begin with. She's not going to be a clown. And I wasn't disappointed listening to her, of course, in this kind of thing. But I wouldn't make up my mind about just about anything on the basis of their conversation yet. I need to look into it quite a bit. But what I initially heard of her, I liked.
Okay, I don't like that she has the big tech Silicon Valley background, but what the sort of the things that I gleaned from her seem to be okay. But I guess no presidential candidate or vice president is perfect, of course.
Well, if I haven't listened to you 1,000 hours, I know jack shit about you if you're a person of substance. That's how I think about it. So I have maybe an hour of her speaking thus far. So
I agree with that point. Unless you've really met someone talk to them, you really don't know them.
Yeah, and that's also the nice thing about the Bitcoin community, right? I mean, for example, what Jim is doing, like you connect with all these different people and you set up something new, and you get to know each other like on a personal level, and you build trust. Creating something that is trustless, but you do need sort of to get to know the people involved by spending a lot of hours working with them, listening to them, talking to them in space. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences, Jim?
I mean, I guess the thing that recently has been paying the royalties, that felt amazing to do that. I mean, the first mint, it sold out much quicker than I had expected. It sold in an hour. I had planned 48 hours for the mint. But it earned me $15,000, and so I took 20% of that, packaged it up, and I gave it to the 16 sample holders that I'd used in the song. Some of them were the OB1 collection, which I put together. It was the new form of Audional loops, audio samples. I put them into this collection called OB1. And so those guys knew they were buying into these are WAV quality audio samples. We spent, each one was a full 350 kilobyte inscription, just a kick drum or a hi-hat. We were just going for the highest resolution audio just to have as a starter. So those guys knew they were going to get some royalties. They knew I was going to use their samples, but there were 3 in the last song, and there's more in the next song that don't know, and it's been a little bit hard getting hold of the people to say, yeah, that's royalties that I just paid you, because they're not going to know what it's for. But I have managed to get in touch with one of them. And then there's another person that I haven't yet, and I've had to actually come up with a new way of paying because of this decentralized way of doing things. I don't have an easy way. For example, if I use your synthesizer, if you inscribe a synth, which is very easy to do, I've made a few, and then I use that synth in a song, I'm going to that ordinal ID, I'm going to that, I'm reaching that private key, I'm going to that ordinal ID, and I'm pulling that data in and using it. And so that becomes part of the sheet music, and the gzip file. Truth is an 8.5 minute song with WAV quality audio, and it's a 3 kilobyte inscription because of all the recursive methods that I'm using. And so it makes the cost to just inscribe a master, affordable for musicians, rather than it being my first attempt was hundreds of dollars, and then I got it down to around 30, and now it's around 5. And then actually to distribute it, it's a 150 byte file, so it costs about 40 cents, which obviously competes with the real world. So that's what I've been really aiming to do all along. But the hard bit now is proving the case by paying these royalties, which I'm doing manually. I received the money. Gamma wouldn't. I tried to say, could we take the song file? The song file has all these IDs on it, but of course we came up against this wall about how you link those IDs to payment addresses. But now, having had in my own live stream on the Audionals Show the other night, had some really clever guys talking about breeding ordinals. They're doing all this amazing stuff with people being able to bring ordinals together that, create new ordinals that carry traits across. And they were talking about some stuff they were doing with padding. And then I thought about the OB1 guys. They padded all the OB1s with 7,887 Satoshis. So then I contacted one of the guys that I had paid the royalties to and said, if I was to send you, say, just a tiny file, like 100 byte file that maybe has some details, it's maybe a receipt, it might say, royalties from such and such a song for use of, this ID. But then I would put the royalties in the padding. I contacted one of the musicians and said, if I did that, could you get it out? He said that would be really easy. So I think that might actually be the workaround I've been trying to figure out for a while, because I hadn't really played with this stuff. I don't muck about with Satoshis or palindromes or all this sort of stuff. But having watched those guys, I was like, oh, but I could maybe use this myself and actually really simplify this. So now I can. I think there might be an educational element because I'm still going to send something to a sample holder who's recorded some random sample. I mean, the guy who I paid at the beginning of Truth, there's this growl. It sounds like a tiger or a dinosaur, but it's actually a recording someone made of me about a year ago saying the word Audionals, which I slowed down to 1% in the song. And so I had by this point forgotten what I had used to make that sound. All this stuff's built into the player engine that I built online, so you can speed things up, slow them down, change the pitch, reverse them. You can do all of that. So I had forgotten. And so when I contacted him, he was like, but my sample's not in the song. I was like, yes,
Well, this is
it's
also
this and this. And I was thinking at the time, this is another beautiful demonstration of the power of blockchain. Because he was saying to me, I've been going through these ideas about how you could use AI to reverse engineer samples to check for sample usage. And I was like, yeah, but this goes beyond that, because there's no processing here, because the chain knows the entire signaled path. It knows the beginning and the end. It sees the whole thing. So while it has the map that it could use to physically deconstruct and reverse engineer audio sample back to its original state, it doesn't need to, because it actually accesses the original state every time the song plays. So your attribution is guaranteed. It's baked in. And so it's exciting, because I only discovered that really last night or the day before. So this song that's going out today, I'll do that.
Does that improve audio quality?
What I'm doing, there's no compression at
That's
all.
amazing.
Zero compression. No,
That's
none.
awesome.
None, because I really, I was a music producer for 20 years, and I ended up, I know that as a musician, we all are creatures of comfort. We fall into patterns of behavior and patterns of using the same plugins and using the same, I might have made an entire album one time which sounds different, but I probably used the same kick drum for the entire thing. I just changed the sound, by processing. And that was the other thing I was, I'm not a developer, I've been learning as I've been going through this process. And one of the things I discovered, to my great joy, was just the small size of these synths. I made a synth that's like my Korg MS-10 is my favorite analog synth, and I thought I'd try and make an emulator of that, and I did a pretty good job. And it's 2 kilobytes. I inscribed it. You can plug your USB keyboard in and play it. It's got a saw wave, a square wave, 2 kilobytes, and that's like infinite bass lines, infinite leads. 2 kilobytes. So it just made me think. I guess I'm trying to set the standard to then go to Apple and say, just put Logic on chain, put the whole thing on chain, tell all your plugin providers to put all their stuff on chain, and then they can all get royalties, and we can get rid of the whole subscription business model, because you just get paid for what you're used on. If your synth was used, we know exactly which synth was used.
And
it's
this is
ID.
also would be good, right? You could take, like you were saying, you could take multiple ordinals and put them together and do all kinds of crazy shit. So, I mean, this is why OpCat, another reason why OpCat becomes cool. Not just, like I was saying, not just for, artwork, but music and whatever else you want to build. This is another good selling point for OpCat. And again, I don't know if you guys heard, just the other day, somebody did a zero knowledge proof on Bitcoin without OpCat. And I was like, wait a sec, what the fuck?
How did that work?
All I know is that Bitcoin, here's my theory, and I've been saying this for some time, is that Bitcoin and Litecoin are going to be able to do it all, and everything else eventually goes bye-bye. That's
what's the time frame?
I've been on that trail,
even
I've been on that path for
eventually,
8 years.
Okay, that's a sad news for me.
I think I was like when I was introduced to Bitcoin, in about 2013, and then I met a guy because I bought a Bitcoin ATM. I read the white paper. I was at that point I was touring. I just had my second kid. I got 3 kids now, but my second was just about to be born, and I was like, I've got to get out of this life. I've chosen the wrong life. I'm not supposed to be on the road, blah blah blah. And so I remortgaged my house and I bought a Bitcoin ATM, and I then spent the next several years learning about the technology and finance, learning some very difficult, very expensive lessons. I borrowed Bitcoin to fund the ATM, and then thought of it in my head as I borrowed $5,000 off someone. And I borrowed $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, and when I paid him back a year later, I had to pay $25,000 to get the Bitcoin. And I hadn't really, but it was a great lesson to learn. I learned never ever go into debt in Bitcoin, and then obviously that equation then says the other side of that equation is own Bitcoin. So it was that was kind of my introduction. And then around 2015, Mike Cohen, who's he was one of the core developers of Stacks. You know, he came to me and he told me about Stacks. Like right back then, he said, "There's this company, Blockstack. They're doing this thing. It's going to be cool." You know, so in my head, I didn't understand this stuff, but someone who I really respected and who was really clever said something to me that sounded really clever and really right on. And so I was kind of just set on that path. It's like I was born into this world of going, Bitcoin's going to do it all. Everything else is a test run. You know, everything else is going to show us how to do it. The things we will learn from mistakes. We'll find things that we can't do. And I guess one thing, you know, you just saying that about the zero knowledge proof, you know, I think one thing that I've got quite good at now is to not be really surprised by anything, because I genuinely think that this is like an exponential, creative, open source, asynchronous, like explosion of the evolution of tech is going on here, and it's in this shared hard drive. We suddenly have a hard drive we can all participate in, and we can like permissionlessly expand or change or form other people's technology. And so I think that expect the unexpected, and I do. And it's like every week someone else comes out and says, I've done something and that's not possible. I mean, I've obviously heard that a lot with what I've done with music and sound. People are saying, but that's not possible. And it's like, yeah, but it is, because, you know, I can show you. And I'm not a developer. I've just tried it and found that this worked. And then I tried something else, and then something else, and something else. And
by experimenting, you are a developer, right? Like that makes you a dev now. So stop saying you're not. You are. You're a junior dev.
I feel more like a dev now. I'm working in a GitHub and stuff.
But you are developing stuff, right? And that's crucial. Anybody that tries to build on any type of open source anything, you're developing, right? You're experimenting, you're developing, you're testing, whatever you're doing. That's a form of development, because you're making and improving the product, making it better. But to go back to what Vesa was saying, yes, it's going to improve science too, because we're going to go away from this cheap method, right, where it's all these peer-reviewed papers, to going back to the method, right, the scientific method, right? And what do your eyes see? What did you document in the tests that you're doing, whatever the experiments are, right? And what results do you get? That's what should be taken, right, as the fact, right, the results in the field, not these peer-reviewed papers. You know, go to the top of the mountain. What do you see? You see a valley, you see a river, you see this, that. And I think, yes, even going to a hard money, we're going to get the scientific method come back. Hopefully.
Paul, welcome, but we can't. We don't have your video or your sound.
I think you have my sound, not the video yet. I'm a little bit in process, but I'm sort of tuning in.
Oh yeah,
no problem.
I do music, by the way.
So cool. So Paul just joined. George, Capital Crypto, had to go because his kids just woke up. I think 3D is also gonna join, but I'm not sure about that. And probably Matty and Johnny Law was very excited, but I haven't seen him yet. Graham will probably join us next time, so then you can have the conversation again, Vesa. Sid, we haven't heard much from you. What's keeping you busy?
Well, all the conspiracies out there. I don't have any informative, substantive talks right now, because I'm always on the conspiracy side. But in my opinion, Bitcoin will go a lot of like 2 to 300,000. But before that, we will see a crash.
Before or after?
Before.
Before.
And it will be a very short crash, and it will be because of the geopolitical situation, because the war is growing, and soon we will hear a big massacre or big incidents that will crash, and then right after that it will start going up, and it will be unstoppable.
I was kind of hoping it would run. It's very close to sort of where it needs to go, right?
Yeah, but you will see, because you know what's going to happen. Everybody will open a long position now with all
Yeah,
the news, and the manipulators want to liquidate those people, so they will do a crash.
the casino. Yeah, this is not financial advice, but has anybody any other views on where Bitcoin is going price wise?
Yeah, I mean,
we're in the perfect storm right now, aren't we? But yeah, you go.
yeah,
Paul.
no. I was just saying, and what I've been paying attention to lately is the cycle repeat chart. And if we look at that cycle repeat chart, it's looking pretty good right now. If this cycle repeats like last time, there should be another small dip within the next month or so that might dip back down to like 56 area. But then after that, it's off to the races according to that last cycle. So if that plays out, and so far it has been playing out, it'll be neat to see.
I'm gonna try and pull it up, Paul, because you sent it to me earlier. You dash my dreams.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, listen, I want this thing to move hard, but unfortunately, I think we still have this sort of sideways motion thing going that's driving us all crazy, that everybody is waiting. Who knows? I mean, Trump might say something today that really sets people on fire and everybody goes and buys Bitcoin. So
That's
Even the powers that be, though, this is going to be one of the cases. If these guys start, I mean, this is beyond institutional, and if we start entering this federal buying of Bitcoin, you better believe they're going to bring the boat back. 100%.
If they say that, or we hear, like I said, we just heard Russia is going to start taking it. We hear Saudi Aramco. I mean, it's within days, right?
But they will bring the boat back. Is my point? Is that there will be a consumer rush, but then when those guys want to buy, they will do exactly what you guys were just saying. There will be a worldwide incident that brings the price down, so they can buy it at the price they want, because that's how these guys play.
They're definitely hedging. They're always hedging. But if you guys are paying attention to the hash rate, I'm the hash rate nerdizoid. We literally almost got to 900 exahashes the other day. That's one of my theories I've been saying since I think the third or fourth episode of my show is that Bitcoin's going to hit a zettahash this year, which is a huge number of calculations per second. And we hit 879 on July 23rd, was just the other day. And my theory is August 7th through 10th, we're going to break 100K. It's been suppressed too long now. Literally, we should have did this like a month or so ago. And what was happening? We had GPTC selling, and then we had on the other side of the fence, BlackRock saying, "Thank you so much," and buying it up, right? Like, and then that stopped. And then what happened right as that stopped? Oh, here comes the Mt. Gox coins, and literally nobody's really touching their Bitcoin. Let's be clear, they're selling their B trash. Good job, y'all. And then what happens all of a sudden as this is going down? Oh, Germany just decides to fucking sell their effing. Sorry, buddy, I scared my dog. What happened? Germany decides to sell their big ass stash of Bitcoin right when it's like perfectly convenient. So I'm looking at the the OTCs are running out, right? They're running out of Bitcoin. We're at the point where I said a couple episodes ago, right? I think it was episode 4, where we're going to start seeing billionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires smash buying Bitcoin because there is no OTC. We're almost to that point. I really think it's not going to be numbers people, want to hear, right? It's going to be 1 million. It's going to be 2 million. It's going to be 3 million, because the BlackRocks of the world keep stacking, right? They have over 400,000 Bitcoin. Yeah. Fidelity has a couple 100,000 Bitcoin. We have MicroStrategy owns 400,000 Bitcoin. So this is a lot of Bitcoins to be taken off the table, y'all. This is basic supply econ 101, supply side supply and demand economics 101, right? All of the corns coming off the table. So at some point, yes, we're going to see the price jump into insane numbers. And when it hits those insane numbers, yes, do not be surprised when it comes tumbling down, because Bitcoin is still one of the most free open markets in the world. Facts.
Absolutely. when people used to ask me what the ceiling was for Bitcoin price, I mean, 10 years ago, and I'd say, well, there isn't one, because Bitcoin is going to witness the hyperinflation of the dollar one day. And so it'll be worth infinite dollars, because it will happen and it will witness it. So anyway, guys, I've got to jump off. I'm really sorry. I've got to run, but it's been really, really cool. I'd love to do this again.
Same for me.
Yeah,
Same for
lovely to
me.
meet you all.
I don't actually have too much of a pressing issue other than my brain started to shut off. So it's like the contribution from here on end is going to be embarrassing for all of us, and mostly to me.
No problem. Hey, thank you guys for joining.
Lovely.
We'll probably
Take care,
run
guys.
for another hour or so, depending on how it goes. But it was really fun, and we're definitely gonna do it again in about a month's time. So take care, guys.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
And nice meeting the ones that I hadn't met before. And thanks for having me, Nicholas. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, nice meeting you all.
Take care.
Awesome.
Take care.
Thank you
guys.
for hanging
See
out.
Yeah,
it's
Gerald,
cool.
the only thing that I say to the supply shock theory is that, again, from my perspective, we've been here before. What's his name? The young guy that Pomp always talk with. I forget his name now. But
Dan Held?
Huh?
Was it Dan Held or?
No, the young blonde guy. I'm trying to think of his name. He has a firm now that does research and stuff. Anyway, he used to talk about it. Dan Held used to talk about the super cycle, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And we even got, Omega Candle. And I get the enthusiasm and everything behind it. But at the end of the day, it's just not materializing. When John McAfee back in the day promised us $1 million before 2021, we're in 2024 and we still haven't gotten over 100,000. I think we have to get over 100 before we can even begin to project that. But it's not like it's going to happen tomorrow. That's probably, who knows, 3-5 years in the future. But everybody makes it seem like it's tomorrow, and it's not.
Well, again, the amount of Bitcoin that the institutions are buying is not one or two, right? If it was one or two,
right,
I might agree with you, right? They're buying hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, right?
Right.
So at some point, the price literally, it's right. The example we've all used is, and we've seen it time and time again, right? So we've seen it go from 20K to 60K and then to 70K. It hasn't made its big move this year, right? It's only breaching ATH just by a little bit. So if we go by its all-time, its normal moves, let's just say it does a 5x from 60K, right? That's, I think, low end, what it's going to do. If we're talking about high end, I don't know, 1 million, 6 million, 10 million, I don't know, because right now, we just have Russia yesterday saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to take Bitcoin for all capital goods." What?
Right.
That's huge. Now, who's next on that agenda? Is it France? Is it Saudi Arabia? Is it Yemen? Is it the UAE? I don't know, but you're going to see other countries make this move because El Salvador broke the ceiling, and now everyone's trying to play catch up.
Yeah, because, I was also talking to a friend of mine, and he said, like, okay, let's say Trump announced, because he was skeptical, he said, like, imagine that Trump says we're going to use it in our treasury.
When is his speech, by the way?
Huh?
When is his speech?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was today, but maybe it's
like Wednesday or Thursday, and now it's like, it's
it's today, and he might be the headliner. He might be coming up within the next few hours because the conference is going to be over by 5 or 6. So he's going to be speaking here soon.
Okay.
So maybe we can catch the tail or basically the beginning of that, I should say. But he was sort of saying, okay, so what? He announces that they will use it as a treasury reserve or strategic asset, like RFK already mentioned.
Well,
he still has
got a lot more fans than RFK. I'm sorry to say.
True. Yeah, no, definitely. But then he said, like, he still has to, go through the motions. He has to, coordinate with administration, with other ministers. He has to put it through, right? He can say it, but does that make it a reality? But I pointed out, like, as soon as American politicians are saying stuff like that, other countries take notice, and they want them beat them before they do it, right? So it kicks off this whole game theory dynamic and besides that, if China and Russia really want to sort of kick America's ass, Bitcoin is the way to do it,
That's
right?
the only way. I've been saying it for, look, if we want to beat China and Russia, we legalize Bitcoin tomorrow and we kick their asses really fast. It's really simple. I'm sorry to say. But I've been saying since 2018, Russia has secretly been,
mining,
harnessing Ethereum and Bitcoin, right? They've been learning what they can do. If there was this, what was it? I think Vice News had a special in 2019. They did just pretty much on cryptocurrency, the whole episode. And there's a scene in there where they're talking to Vitalik, and Vitalik's like, I'm talking to like 20 of the central banks in the world, right? And that is a real thing. The Russian banks have been using Ethereum for like 5 years now. So for people to have this misnomer that Russia hates cryptocurrency, surprise, they just legalized it to buy capital goods on Friday. Hello, are you paying attention?
but I think also, right, they also know it's like detonating a nuclear weapon, right? Because it's sort of the same magnitude if they do something like that. So it's basically a declaration of war that you...
But they are also making their own digital currency, BRICS. So it won't be just Bitcoin. I think to beat their currency, US need to adopt Bitcoin, because their plan is not to continue using Bitcoin. They want to introduce their own currency, gold-backed currency, basically.
Yeah, the BRICS want to do a gold-backed currency, and then obviously the U.S. wants to make like a market for the dollar through Solana and Ethereum with USDC and USD.
We got a new person, Johnny Law. Actually, a very, very well-known person. He actually also has a show on Bitcoin Live, but he's also super busy. So it's really nice that you could join us. How are you, John?
Doing good. You guys hear me all right?
I think so, yeah.
It's not my usual setup here. I was kind of on the fly. I thought I'd jump in the office and jump on, say hi to you guys. Jumped right in.
You can do a virtual background.
Okay.
But yeah. But you're doing good?
Man, doing great. It's been a busy spring. The States, we've got more chaos broadcasts at us probably than anywhere else in the rest of the world, I'd imagine. But maybe that's just my
we're trying to
perception.
Keep up. What was your take on the Bitcoin conference?
I've not followed it at all because I have zero interest in them. They talk about it as though it is solely a speculative asset store of value, and I have zero interest in that idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, you always say it's for the coins, right? It's all about the coins, and fiat is just trying to trick people out of selling their coins for worthless fiat, which is true.
Yeah, that's what shitcoins are for.
So, but you have a lot of maxis, right? Even Max Kaiser, who was like a Bitcoin prophet from day one, he only talks about price this, price that, price, So I do get that prices are important, but you should also think that people like that, like people like Max Kaiser and others, or Michael Saylor, for example, that they would want to push that message out there that it's actually not about the price, it's actually about Bitcoin, right? So it's, who cares about the price in the end?
Yes, exactly right. I think ultimately they've got away from the peer-to-peer marketplace, and their inability to understand that when you allow an abstract thing like fiat to interact with Bitcoin in a derivative marketplace, you essentially bastardize what once was a good thing, and you turn it into just another asset class, which it is not, and it never was intended to be.
By the way, you disappeared like Satoshi.
Oh, Trump has arrived at the conference.
Oh, okay. Oh. We are actually watching it live right now, but they're probably
no,
talking
it's like
about...
from the outside. 8 minutes ago, there is like huge crowd welcoming him. So that's cool.
Is the security in order?
I hope so.
Yeah,
you're not right, man. You're not right.
Their brilliant move was no more outdoor events. Yeah, no shit, dickhead.
Yeah, I think the advice was that he should do less rallies because they can't keep up. So.
Yeah. less rallies.
We can see you, Paul.
Yes,
Hi
I
there.
decided to pop on. I could put my virtual background on because behind me it's a mess.
So, how are you, Paul?
Doing good, man. Busy as always. In the process of moving, so you catch me in between my moving stage.
I like the house.
Yes. That I wish looked like my house right now, but it doesn't.
Same here.
It's horrible.
So, so Trump is arriving. It will be interesting to see what he has to say, and also, the impact on the price, sorry, John.
Yeah, it's coming. Sorry.
I mean, every Bitcoin conference and throughout the last couple of big cycles, it's dropped almost immediately at the start of the conference, right?
Yeah.
The last one was Miami, right? And then Miami was, everybody walked away. They're like, what a shit show that was. All of the original ethos just getting thrown out the window and trying to corporatize something that was intended to be for us individuals, to kind of reassert ourselves in the marketplace.
And this time they've completely politicized it. I've been watching a lot of it, and most of it are all politicians on stage. It's insane. I'm like, this is the community that's supposed to not give two Fs about politicians, but it seems like we're catering to every last one of them now. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. I've been to Bitcoin conference Amsterdam, and one of the things that I really were actually two things, right? First of all, it seems that there was already hyperinflation when you sort of look at the prices that they ask, and they talk about the dangers of inflation, and secondly, you think it's for everybody, like that's the message of Bitcoin, like it's for everybody, for poor people, middle class. But basically, only the elite can actually afford these prices and to be able to sit there or to talk with them, right? It's very difficult to interact with anybody.
It sounds like somebody's theory. That BlackRock's going to pump the price of Bitcoin so high that, it'll make the layer one unaffordable to use. That's still very plausible, people. Don't think it can't happen. They are stacking hard as a mofo. Luckily, the fees have been coming down. Like, they're teeny fees. So they might fail. They might fail in their attempt to attack Bitcoin. I call it the Bitcoin price attack.
Yeah. I think your microphone is a little bit off, John.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's not too bad. Yeah, there's a little bit of static in the background. So, guys,
I'll mute myself.
what do you want to discuss?
But what you just said, though, is what the point that I've been trying to get across. The Altcoin Daily crew, they always bring up about, 0.01 Bitcoin's gonna make you a millionaire, blah, blah. I'm like, guys, listen, what you fail to realize is that the average person doesn't have $400 for an emergency. So how in God's name can they even afford Bitcoin? And you think that they're going to stack sats? No, they're not going to stack sats, because the reality is that most of those people are not even actively saving right now. They can't. So it's not, you're right, it's not for the average person. This is for the wealthy.
Yeah, but I also think that I remember this interview that I did with Caleb Franson before he blew up, in a positive way, by the way. But that the things that are sort of happening in the financial world is basically crushing the middle class, and I think it's on purpose. They're just squeezing the life out of people, just before this transition to a new financial system, and normal people just can't afford to join in, right? First of all, in the mainstream media is ridiculing Bitcoin and saying it's for criminals and child trafficking and whatever they can come up with, and so it has a very bad reputation. And on the other side, they're sort of crushing the middle class so that they don't have any excess capital, even if they wanted to put it in.
Yeah,
Right?
but that's where the altcoins come in, because people have more chances in altcoins.
Maneki.
Yeah, that's where we will rise. I don't know about you guys, but I am a big holder of altcoins.
I also got a bag.
I also got a bag. Yeah, a bag. Again, look, I always tell people, yes, shitcoin. Look, if you understand the behavioral economics of the space, right? Gambling's not going anywhere. We've seen the advent of online gambling in the last 10 years be totally effing illegal in this country, United States. And now there's DraftKings, this, that, the other thing. There's like 30 different applications you can gamble with. And guess what? They're all killing it. MGM and all of them down are raking in money right now. Why is that? Because people love to gamble. So if you are investing in the shit coins, just remember, you are gambling, right? You are at the track. You're betting like the superfecta of your, your $50 is going to turn into 50K or 50 million or whatever. Just realize there's a very high probability it can go to zero. So do not invest your life savings into one of these shit coins, right?
Wow.
Yeah, shit coins are different than altcoins, to be honest.
No, I agree and disagree, but go ahead.
Yeah. What is your take there, John?
I was going to say, utility reigns, right? So what works and what does so efficiently, securely, and without being able to be censored is what will be needed. So these tokens on Solana, these tokens on Ethereum, most of these contracts are revocable. So 99% of what we see in the marketplace disappears when somebody decides it disappears. So there's a handful of projects left that can operate on their own when the moment comes that they want to transition to their CBDCs, and the rest of us say, no thanks, fuck off.
I concur.
Yeah. And when do those CBDCs appear?
Oh, they already are.
Yeah, true. But I mean, when are we forced to use them on a massive scale?
In the West, very soon, probably in the next 6 to 12 months.
Oh, that's very soon. I'm thinking like 3 to 4 years, but I will take your word for it.
Yeah, so here's I've been saying it in my last couple of shows. They're going to tank the markets in October. What happened the other day? Oh, the markets were dipping kind of hard. That's the precursor. So we get to October, November. Here comes the big crash. And what happens every time there's a big crash? The banks go, oh my gosh, we're out of money. And then they're going to say, oh, there's this USDC and this USDT. And boom. Yeah.
Actually, it's been interesting watching the stablecoins buy up all the treasuries. So a lot of people are not aware that the stablecoin providers are the largest holder of treasuries at this point.
Yeah.
So they just keep that. That's going to be the transition period when all the stablecoin issuers buy up literally all the treasuries, then they issue the CBDC.
Correct. Yep. Why do you think they're doing that, y'all? Why are they all of a sudden holding paper? U.S. paper, a lot of U.S. paper, as Paul just stated.
So, if you compress this, all of this, that means that right now we're going through a very, very serious, dangerous few months, right? Like false flags everywhere, possibility of escalation of conflicts or new conflicts or, whatever it is. That something big is about to happen, right? If that sort of follows from all of this.
It's election year. That usually always happens during an election year. We have a collapse during an election year, 2008, 2020. Again, it's all the signs point to my analysis is all the red flags are there, right? We look at the bond markets. We look at the property markets, look at the commercial property markets. The list is endless of things I could point out that are problematic. I live in one of the most wealthiest counties in America. I just saw the 4th RV for sale, right? And dozens of houses and dozens of houses in one of the best property areas in the country where the property value doesn't even fluctuate. In 2020, it went up. It didn't go down like a lot of places. So yeah.
Also, that prophet prophesized about the big crash. Nick knows about it. There's a prophet who prophesied about the shooting of Trump. And then he said there will be a big crash right after the election.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, it is what it is. I go by the macro data. and all the macro data is saying a crash is coming. The banks, look how many banks are literally out of money as we speak. There are dozens and dozens of banks teetering on the precipice of failure, right? So this is not like me just being hyperbolic. All the signs are there.
The only thing I say
Heavenly
about that, again, is that, and I'm not discounting you. I will agree with you. Something is going to happen. Something's coming down the pipe. But I had a good friend, Samson Williams, used to tell me back in 2018, recession. Been hearing that now for, 5 years? What's the real impact of it? A lot of people will tell me, oh, but it is, inflation's high. People can't buy stuff. But I still see the grocery stores full of people. I still see the restaurants full of people. I still see lines at Chipotle. Listen, and Chipotle is expensive as fuck. Like, I don't care what anybody says. If you got money to spend at Chipotle, then obviously the economy's not doing too bad.
So you guys ready for the prophecy?
Yes.
Here it goes.
Let's go.
Oh,
And then I saw Oklahoma, and there was embers of people, and they were all on these. They had torches all throughout Oklahoma, and they were raising up these torches that looked like fire, and they were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation. And it was coming. It was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started.
Well, anyway, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
I don't want to push Paul to the limit.
Yeah. It was a hoax. It was planned. And see, that's proof it was planned. This whole thing was planned.
Well,
exactly
that's
like
one
you said.
interpretation, right?
That's exactly what happened.
But because it was recorded 3 months in advance of
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
because look at Trump's here at the conference. Wait till he speaks at the conference. Man, in your ear, it looks absolutely perfect.
No, it was not a hoax, man, because it was impossible to hoax it.
Well,
Otherwise,
his ear's not destroyed. His ear's not
no.
destroyed.
Also, FBI confirmed that it was after investigation that bullet hits it, and secondly, it's the responsibility of Biden to protect him. Secret Service is under government. Yeah, Secret Service is under U.S. President.
DOJ.
So if somebody is responsible for hoaxing it, it's the Democrats, not Trump. So
Well, we did a whole show on it with.
we did a whole. I did 2 shows basically going.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Going in detail. So
We actually did 5 shows because we had two failed recordings.
yeah.
Well,
But yeah,
I would just say,
hoaxing from Trump's side is impossible because we went all the facts, and also it wasn't done by the Democrat. It was like something else behind it.
FBI, yeah.
What do you want to say, John?
I was going to say non-local consciousness is real, right? Just like remote viewing is real. MK Ultra program is real. Like all of these things are known, right? So there are people that will be able to tap into things and see things unknowing to themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I termed a new coin. At least I think it's a new term. Sorry. New age politics. I think we're entering the age of new age politics, where spiritual, AI, and political circus meet. It's very clownesque and unreal, and I think we're in the middle of it.
No,
I mean,
after looking at remote viewing, I think you can see future, a glimpse of it, not everything, but yeah. I was a big denier of remote viewing, but after doing some research on that, I was like, yeah, that is something true. CIA was involved in it. Yeah, they convinced me. But also there's like this guy Sean Ryan, he have a show, he brought some people who were involved in the CIA remote viewing program, right? It's like a long podcast, 6 to 8 hours. So then I was like, yeah, I've changed my mind about that.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
Again, most people don't know the sister project to MK Ultra. It's MK Naomi. Yeah, look up that shit. That was 10 times more scary. FYI.
MK Naomi, I don't know, but I will look for it.
Cool. A new show.
Yeah, when you need a guest, I'm there for you.
Cool. Okay, we're gonna set it up. Actually, I'm not sure if it's gonna happen, but I'm in contact with Ashton Forbes. So this is like really big.
Yeah.
What,
And
he's going to be on the network?
maybe, yeah.
Ah.
He actually
In a
said
show.
2 times he's coming on
As a
but,
guest.
as a guest, yeah. So, but the guy is so crazy busy. So it's, you know, stuff keeps coming up. But I'll keep pushing him. He will be on Bitcoin Live.
He actually comments on some of my tweets. I'm impressed. He actually, like, it's, you know, he doesn't have like a handler tweeter, right? Like they're his tweets. Yeah, that's, yeah. Again, that's the other thing is the other crazy news that's all coming out, right? Like all the new science, the neo-physics is about to be dropped on the world. And
Scalar physics.
yeah, dude, you're gonna have to be. Your eyes are about to be reopened again, y'all. But
Yeah.
I tell
That's
people,
what-
look, I've witnessed this shit, right? I've seen this shit, right? I've seen UAPs go through a portal, disappear, right? And where and when they went, I have no clue. But I've seen it a couple times now with my own eyes, and I tell people this technology exists. And did this? From what everything Ashton has shown me, it looks like legitimate evidence that they used mobile portal technology. Now, I didn't know there was such thing as mobile portal technology, but clearly they used some type of mobile portal technology to make MH370 go to somewhere across the universe. Poof.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's really bizarre.
It's the first time, you know, back in the days, we used to hear stories about Bermuda Triangle, planes went missing. So there is something going on. You know, Nick, we need to invite Jerry to our bigger picture
Mhm.
to share his
Yeah, I
stories
thought-
because I'm intrigued. I want to know more about his stories.
And I think we also get John on because I think he's also in. Yeah, but first I'm gonna try to get Ashton on because I did say Sunday 4th. So if I can make that happen, of course we'll do that first.
Yeah,
But,
this goes all the way back to the Philadelphia experiment, right? So this goes back to when Tesla was working with the government and they were trying to make boats like invisible, right? That was the objective. And what they didn't realize is that they opened into different dimensions. Correct. They opened portals into different dimensions and they didn't know what they were doing. And it led to, you know, some people getting, you know, stuck into the ship. It's called the USS. Oh, shit. I used to have this memorized. Oh,
but I think
But
I think you know, when you sort of even though this is super crazy for people who hear it for the first time or simply can't process it, but it does help you to sort of understand why all our world leaders suddenly went crazy, right? Because you know, from one day to the next, our representatives stopped representing us, and you can say, you know, it's because of the system and all of that, but you know, clearly something bigger is going
Also,
on.
Elon Musk, he have changed.
Eisenhower.
Yeah, but Elon Musk, like if you look at Elon Musk, his views have shifted 360, like 180 degree for some reason. He was against AI, now he's making AI. I'm not. Yeah, there is something big going on.
He has not changed any of his views. He has only.
No, for example, AI.
I've been very critical of him from the get-go.
I was a big
master manipulator attempting to garner some populism in service of his own maniacal goals.
Yeah, I think he's building his own empire. That's you know, his goal.
Of course, it's all money driven.
He's an egomaniac that is maturing in some respects in front of our eyes, but in others continues to serve sort of a base desire that is not rooted in morality. The interesting thing he stated today was that Christians have lost their teeth, so to speak, that Christianity is toothless. And he's truly misunderstanding the Bible in many contexts. But for him to say something like that shows a complete lack of understanding of the spiritual nature of this world.
Also, he's just manipulating people. He is not Christian, so he's just saying it to gather more support. That's all he is doing.
By the way, I got this from somebody today. I'm not sure, it's probably a joke, but
It's true.
or not.
I know about this.
Yeah, Anonymous tells Elon Musk the game is over. You aren't the smartest person playing both sides. It's over. Expect us. So I don't know if there's there's
Good, yeah.
like I said, new age politics.
I mean, you should
Again.
go through my tweets on Elon. Just go to my feed, type Elon, and enjoy.
Yeah, again, when my main account got suspended for freedom of speech, by the way, it started to widen my eyes to Elon as well, right? He's not about freedom of speech. He bought Twitter because he doesn't want to pay the telecom company for LTE for his Tesla fleet, right? So he integrates, what's he do? He integrates into X, teleconferencing and all these telephonic features so that he can eventually upgrade X in all the Tesla fleet and bypass the telecom companies. That's what he bought Twitter for. Facts.
Also control the speech, because he want to control the speech.
Yeah, obviously, definitely. All the biggest moguls of all time, the wealthiest people of all time, the last 150 years, had their fingers on the media, right? Goes back a long time.
Yep. Yeah, Noam Chomsky actually did a really nice documentary on that, manufacturing consent. Even though I don't fully agree with everything he says, it turns out he's pretty right about a lot of things. and that documentary is really good. So, yeah. Are you still there, Paul?
Yep, I'm still here. Yeah, with a lot of this stuff, though, when you think about it, and that's what I've tried to explain to people, is that the world, and I mean the entire globe, is an incredibly complex machine. No one really knows what the hell's going on. And if you didn't watch the movie that the Obamas produced, that, to kill the punchline, sorry everybody, that was the whole point of the movie. At the end, they said, what if no one's in control? It's gonna be. It's just total chaos. There's no one controlling this. It's just things are happening. People are trying to manage it the best they can, but there's no one single entity that's controlling. There's no cabal, right? I mean, there might be many cabals, but there's no one cabal.
Yeah,
true. And there's also a book from what I think the 70s, Ulrich Beck's Risk Society, where he sort of said, like, the more complex societies become, the more unstable they inevitably become, right? Because they are reacting and then overreacting, so they sort of easily get out of balance because they're sort of overcompensating one way or the other way. So
that's the way humans
that's
are,
also
right? That's what we do as people. Here's the thing that shocks me about people, and again, I think it unfortunately does take someone being very, someone to take the helm as the leader. But what gets me is people complain in this world a lot about a lot of things. We just complain and bitch and moan. But here's the thing. There are more of us than there are of them. Listen, if I don't like Five Guys charging me $25 for a burger, fry, and drink, then don't fucking go to Five Guys. But guess what? We have people that will go to Five Guys, spend the money, complain and bitch, and go back again. I'm like, stop going to Five Guys. Listen, we live in a free market. The free market says what? If people come, high demand, price will go up if it's low supply. If it's a lot of supply and low demand, number comes down. Listen, stop going to these places, spending your money, and I bet you the prices come down. You know why? Because they can't run their business without you giving them money. But no, we will complain. We should.
They already are. They already are starting to come down. There's like multiple food chains, supermarket chains. Like I've seen commercials for Fred Meyer, multiple. It's like, oh, we're making it a point now. I literally went to Fred Meyer the other day. I bought 5 items, $14.97. I was like, I literally almost hit my head. I was like, what the 2018? What the hell's going on? I kid you not. 5 things, $14.97 with my Fred Meyer card. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like normal prices again for a hot second. Thank you, Lord. Amen.
I'm gonna check if Trump already arrived.
Oh, is it up? Is it home?
Is he talking? Is he squawking?
No, not yet.
I saw some activity, but they're still talking. Yeah, it will be interesting.
It will be. And the same thing goes with everything else in the world is that, unfortunately, because people are so diversified, that's one of the things I say about the Democratic Party. The reason the Democratic Party really, it seems like they're all over the place, is because the Democrats really are a very disjointed group of people. On the other side, the Trump people, they are solid. They are not going to migrate. They don't care what you throw at them. They are unified and they are together. When you get a very group of people that are so diverse, you got diverse opinions. Everybody thinks differently. Not everybody agree with stuff. It's weird. So
No, I just read something about the far right wing of the party. They decided not to vote because they are backing off.
Vote?
Yeah, like I'm talking about far right, Nick Fuentes type of people.
The real far right.
Yeah. So they said like, yeah, we don't agree because he was denouncing Project 2025 and that's right-wing darling. So they said, if you're going to do that to us, we are not going to vote for you. They are not saying that they're going to vote for Kamala, but they are saying that they are not voting. So Trump base is shaking.
Votes don't matter. They haven't for a while.
Yeah. Hey guys, have you watched The Boys?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I finished, so I won't say anything.
So I think it pretty well compares to what's actually going on.
Whoever's writing that, yes, they're watching. Yeah.
They're insiders.
Yes, they are. They have to.
Minus the heads exploding and stuff, but yeah.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, no. Almost head exploding. Thank the Lord that didn't happen. By the way.
Yes.
What was that movie from with Jack Nicholson where he can sort of made people's heads explode, like in the 80s or something? I think it was Jack Nicholson.
No, right? I think you're thinking of
the actor who looks like him. I always forget his name.
I think isn't it Scanners you're thinking of?
Yeah, Scanners.
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 Yeah.
And is that
classic?
I want to say young Christopher Walken. Yeah.
I'm gonna check. Wait.
Also, don't forget Simpsons.
Dude answered.
Simpsons, yes.
I just shared something with Nick. Can you put it up on the screen?
Okay, wait.
They predicted this.
Oh yeah, the Simpsons have predicted
come on.
lots of things, dude. They predicted fried pickles, right? Pickle chips. Like they predicted that. Like there's literally an episode where you see in the Quickie Mart and it says, "Ask me about fried pickles." I'm like, what?
Yeah, but look at this one. Kamala's president.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Or the Trump one, right? With the Trump sign falling down and everything. That one's like to a T.
It's crazy.
It does make you wonder how this stuff happens, right?
Exactly. It's all planned. I think we are in simulation. I don't even have a doubt about it.
I always tell people, you can have my keys and you can be in pain all day and realize you're in simulation. So yeah, not a simulation.
So do they also follow the right order, like that each episode is later? So when they make these predictions, that you can actually look like to the next episode and see what's going to happen, or are they sort of random?
No, they don't have an order, but these predictions came like decades ago. This was like I think in 2012 or 14 they launched this video. I don't know, a long time ago.
That's just subconscious playing on her. Whoever dressed her, their subconscious. They were a Simpsons fan, and they dressed her to look exactly like her, so that people like us could bring up that clip and talk about it.
No, but that escalator scene of Trump, that was on the point.
That one's weird. That one's definitely way weird. Because the sign drops like perfectly, and there's other ones. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of Simpson predictions I cannot deny. But that one I think is more the subliminal playing on everything.
So it turns out that Scanners is by David Cronenberg. I didn't know. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the actor was called Stephen Leck or Patrick McGoohan, but I think it's Stephen Leck.
Okay.
And Jennifer O'Neill. So pretty cool. Yeah. Guys, do we want to wind it up, or do we have another topic to?
I'm gonna go anyway. It's nice talking to you guys. Have fun.
Was a lot of fun.
Pleasure.
Take care, and we're definitely gonna do it again in about a month's time, and then we might have a different makeup of people, right? Or not, or more or less, whatever. It was a lot of fun, and let's do it again.
Hey, before we go, from you three guys, what do you think the price is going to be this time next week? This time next week, what will the price be? Will it be higher or will it be lower?
Will be one.
One is one. Yeah.
Oh, come on, Johnny. Come on. I know you ain't priced. But Johnny's like, I'm not playing. Okay.
77.
77.
How much?
I'm going lower.
I hope higher, but usually when I hope something, the reverse happens, so it's probably lower.
All you have to do, just watch the perpetuals market. If the ratio is like 10-1 to the spot market, the price is going to go down. If it's 6-1 or lower, the price is going to go up. You can trade off that if you want.
Wait,
Nice. Okay. Sweet.
Good
Thanks.
point.
Okay. Awesome.
And with
Guys.
that, we'll end the show. And maybe, Paul, will you be back in the future?
Yeah, I should be. I'm going to be moving as soon as I get settled. Once I'm settled, then hopefully things will come down. I got a big project right now. I'm doing a huge migration for GE, for my client. They're using GE, a big GE migration, then this other practice that I'm working with. So as soon as that stuff settles down, then I'll be back.
Cool. Okay, with that good news, we're going to sign off. Wish everybody a nice conference and hopefully a good price.
Indeed.
Take care.
Bye.